its mission, while highlighting the exceptional courage exemplified in their own personal fight against cancer. It is my honor to present the Award of Courage to Brenda Arndt. Brenda, throughout your cancer journey, your strength and determination has been an inspiration to volunteers and staff alike. You have sacrificed personal time and privacy as a means of making an impact and bringing awareness to the disease. You embody the values that drive our organization: care, courage, integrity, and a progressive spirit. It is because of volunteers like you that we know we will eventually win the fight against cancer. Thank you for all that you have contributed to the eradication of cancer and enhancing the lives of those living with cancer. Brenda, congratulations, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. A little bit taller, I think. In the first 4.5 decades of my life, I was often told that I had attitude. Whether it was by my parents, babysitters, teachers, coaches, bosses, or my exes, I don't think they meant it in a good way. However, for the last decade, I'm told that same attitude is a good one. Today, the Canadian Cancer Society is renaming that aspect of my personality from attitude to courage. I'm honored and I'm fortunate. My attitude is fostered by all the people who love me and encourage me, and to them I say thank you. This award is as much yours as it is mine. Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Canadian Cancer Society. Angela's also asked me to do the survivor speech today, so bear with me for a while. When I was 16 years old, I was driving along the QEW in St. Catharines, just under the overpass on Lake Street, when I heard on the radio that by the year 2000, 1 in 4 people would be diagnosed with cancer at some point during their life. That was 38 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday because it felt as though my blood had turned to ice. Fear. The only things I knew about cancer back then were my Uncle Ted usually vomited on his way to chemotherapy sessions, and my best friend's mother had just passed away. 1 in 4 was a statistic that frightened me. To me, the Canadian Cancer Society's vision, creating a world where no Canadian fears cancer, hits the nail on the head. I've lost a lot of family to cancer, and quite a few friends. And I have lost, and that gives me hope. In March of 2004, I received a phone call from my OBGYN secretary. She informed me that I had breast cancer, and she had made an appointment for me with a surgeon. That appointment was 2 months away. 2 months. As I hung up the phone, I was shaky, frightened, and I had an intense need to act. I couldn't wait 2 months. Fight, flight, or freeze, I chose to fight. I made a lot of phone calls, and I managed to speed things up to the point that I had already had a lumpectomy with a different surgeon before the original appointment arrived. By the time the pathology report came back, I had read so much about breast cancer that I knew what treatment I wanted before it was offered to me. One of the many phone calls I made was to the Canadian Cancer Society. And after that phone call, I knew the CCS was a resource I had every intention of using. I learned that not only do they fund research, they fund education and awareness programs, they provide rides to cancer treatments, they donate wigs, have a peer support program, they have volunteers in the oncology clinics, they have a website full of valuable information, and they are advocates for medical, environmental, and legislative changes. The list goes on. I started my 6 months of chemotherapy in May of 2004 at the oncology clinic in St. Catharines. The volunteer program in our cancer clinics is invaluable. CCS volunteers kindly brought juice and sandwiches, brewed us tea, and were always around to help. Shortly after all my hair fell out, I visited the Niagara friend who is also undergoing chemotherapy. They have a room with wigs free for the taking. Melody and I had a great time trying on wigs, laughing and carrying on as if we had no troubles at all. Wigs turned out to be a lot of fun for Melody and me. We'd go out for lunches, and after the waitress would take our order, we'd switch wigs. Hers was a short brunette, and mine was a long blonde. We caused a fair bit of confusion and shared a lot of laughs. After chemotherapy, it was time for 30 trips to Hamilton for radiation, 5 days a week. These treatments went over Christmas, and that year the snow was falling. The CCS Volunteer Ride program was top-notch. One phone call and my transportation was taken care of. Once I was finished treatments, I strangely was more afraid than I was throughout. Suddenly my part in the fight was over. There was nothing I could do. Then I remembered hearing about the Relay for Life. And with that memory, I was able to raise my sword and continue with my battle against this insidious disease. Action defeats fear. That was 8 years ago. To date, I'm breast cancer free. However, I didn't seem to be bouncing back like my peers were. In December 2006, I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia, CML. When my grandson was told I had another battle with cancer on my hands, he simply stated, "Cancer doesn't stand a chance against my grandma." Trent was 4 years old when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And along with others who love me and are here right now, he had been there beside me, active throughout my battle. This attitude coming out of a 6-year-old child reinforced that action defeats fear and that the battle is not mine alone. Just a few short years before I was diagnosed with CML, most people died from it within 3 to 5 years. Some were able to be cured of it with a stem cell transplant, many of whom subsequently died from graft versus host disease caused by the cure. Today, most people are living with it, with no expiration date stamped on our foreheads. Because of the research, like that funded by the Canadian Cancer Society, CML is now a chronic disease that's managed with a daily dose of a drug that targets the disease at the molecular level. We no longer suffer from the symptoms of the disease, leukemia, because we're in a drug-induced remission. But we do suffer from the side effects of the treatment. Because of research currently taking place, CML may be curable in my lifetime, and I look forward to that. Every day, 500 Canadians are diagnosed with cancer. Every day, 200 Canadians die from it. We have a lot of work to do, my friends. Remember, action defeats fear. I would like to thank you all for everything you have done, everything you will do, and perhaps most importantly, everyone you inspire. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda, and congratulations. I'd like to now welcome